The galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. In the Vorath system, the largest fleet of the Xylan Empire had gathered, their ships glinting in the pale light of 3 suns. Commanders paced their bridges, scanning the empty space with unease. For weeks, they had felt it. Something new, something powerful, moving through the stars. And now, the sensors had finally detected it. The readings were strange. Not just strange. They were impossible. No known fleet could move like this. No race could appear in multiple sectors at once. And yet, the data was clear. Thousands of ships, sleek, angular, and perfectly synchronized, were converging on the Vorath system. Admiral Kryn clenched his fists. "Report," he barked, his voice carrying across the bridge. "The fleet is human," one officer said, his voice trembling. "Unknown vessels, unknown technology. But they are here." Kryn froze. He had heard rumors of humanity, of the planet Earth, a tiny world in a quiet corner of the galaxy. But humans had always been considered weak, backward, primitive. No one expected them to arrive like this, fleet after fleet, moving faster than any Xylan ship could manage, and perfectly coordinated. The first human ships entered the system with silent precision. Not a shot had been fired. Not a warning given. They simply appeared, hovering at the edge of the Vorath fleet. Their hulls were dark, almost invisible, but their shapes were familiar enough to inspire terror. Kryn's eyes widened as the humans moved into position. They did not attack immediately. Instead, they spread out in formations that no alien fleet had ever seen before. Shapes that seemed to flow like water, each ship anticipating the moves of the others. "They are dancing," whispered Lieutenant Sarn, unable to hide his awe. Kryn slammed his fist onto the console. "Dancing. This is war, Lieutenant. Focus." But the lieutenant was right. There was an elegance to the human's movement, an intelligence that was terrifying in its simplicity. Every alien ship in the Vorath fleet was accounted for, every weak point identified, every escape route predicted. Suddenly, a human ship shot forward, faster than anything the Xylan had ever encountered. It struck a Vorath dreadnought without warning. The explosion was not loud, it was precise. A single strike, perfectly aimed, crippling the massive ship instantly. The Vorath fleet panicked. Commands were shouted, alarms blared, but the humans were already in motion, each ship following the other as if guided by a single mind. No one could understand how humans coordinated so well, so quickly. In the chaos, Kryn's communications officer reported something that made the room fall silent. "Sir, they are not just attacking, they are studying us. Every maneuver we make, every counter we try, they adapt immediately. It's like they know what we are going to do before we do it." Kryn's heart pounded. He had fought many wars, faced countless enemies, but never this. These humans, they were something else entirely. Not just stronger, not just smarter, they were unpredictable in the way only the galaxy's deadliest predators could be. Meanwhile, on the bridge of one human command ship, Captain Elena Kale watched the sensors with calm eyes. The aliens were panicking, their movements sloppy, predictable. She had trained her fleet for decades to reach this moment, to show the galaxy what humanity was capable of. "Elena, they are trying to regroup," said her second-in-command, a young officer named Rin. "Do we strike now?" Elena smiled, a small, cold curve of her lips. "We wait until they make a mistake. Then, we show them the cost of underestimating humans." Back in the Vorath fleet, a massive warship attempted to flee. Its engines flared as it tried to escape the humans' formation. But before it could move, another human ship appeared out of nowhere, striking it from behind. The dreadnought broke apart in seconds, debris scattering across the vacuum of space. The remaining Xylan ships hesitated. Fear had entered their hearts. They had fought countless enemies, conquered thousands of worlds, yet they had never seen anything like this. The humans were not just invaders, they were a force of nature, unstoppable and unyielding. And then, as suddenly as they had appeared, the humans paused. Not to retreat, not to negotiate, but to let the Vorath fleet see what was coming. A new formation emerged, one that spelled doom for anyone who dared oppose them. Kryn stared at the screen, unable to speak. The humans were moving like a single organism, every ship a part of a whole greater than himself. It was beautiful, and it was terrifying. A warning alarm sounded on the Vorith bridge. Sensors picked up a massive human ship approaching the command center. Not attacking, yet. But its presence was enough to stop the breath of every Xylan officer in the room. Kryn knew the moment had come. He realized, with a chill he could not shake, that the galaxy's balance of power was about to change forever. And there was nothing anyone could do to stop it. Captain Elena Kale leaned back in her chair, watching the enemy. She whispered quietly to herself, though she knew no one could hear. The galaxy has forgotten humanity. Let's remind them why they should never forget again. And with that, the first human strike began. The Vorith fleet was in chaos. Ships were burning, alarms screaming through every command bridge. Admiral Kryn struggled to regain control, but the humans moved faster, striking before anyone could react. Every attempt to regroup failed. Every tactic the Xylan used was already countered. "They're predicting us," Kryn shouted, his voice hoarse. "Every move we make, they know it. How is this possible?" Lieutenant Sarn swallowed hard. "Sir, they adapt. They watch, they learn, and they act. Like a single mind controlling thousands of ships." The humans were not just attacking, they were teaching a lesson. Each strike was precise, calculated, almost clinical. They didn't waste energy, didn't shoot blindly. One massive Vorith battleship tried to charge directly at the humans' line, hoping to break their formation. The result was immediate and horrifying. A human ship appeared directly in its path and fired a single beam. The Vorith ship's shields evaporated, its hull ruptured, and it shattered into pieces before it even had a chance to turn. In the Vorith command center, fear had turned into panic. Officers ran in every direction, trying to find solutions, but the humans were already moving beyond their sensors' reach. It was like chasing shadows in the dark, shadows that could strike with lethal precision at any moment. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the human command ship, Captain Elena Kale watched the battle unfold with quiet confidence. Every strike was measured. Every decision, calculated. She leaned toward Rin, who was monitoring the Vorith fleet's reactions. "They're trying to hide their fear," she said softly. "But they can't. I can see it. Their fleet is unraveling, and they don't even realize how weak they are." Rin nodded. "Should we continue the assault?" Elena's eyes narrowed. "Yes. But in a way that makes them understand why humans are not to be underestimated. This is not just war. This is a warning." In space, the warning became clear. Human ships moved like predators circling prey. Smaller Xylan vessels attempted desperate maneuvers, trying to escape. Each attempt failed. Humans anticipated every path, cutting off escape routes, forcing the aliens into traps they did not even see coming. A massive dreadnought tried one last gambit. It fired a barrage of plasma cannon at the humans' formation. The beams streaked through space, hitting nothing. Human ships twisted and split apart, moving with speed and precision no Xylan crew had thought possible. The dreadnought's own volleys turned back on itself as human interceptors used the alien attacks against them, redirecting energy in ways no one had predicted. On Vorith, Kryn slammed his fists on the console. "Hold your ground. Do not give in." But his orders were meaningless. Panic had spread like wildfire. Officers stopped responding. Ships were abandoned. And through it all, the humans pressed forward, calm, unyielding, unstoppable. Then came the first sign that the humans were more than just excellent fighters. Sensors picked up a sudden disappearance. A massive Vorith warship vanished from the field without a trace. Not destroyed, not hidden, just gone. Kryn's jaw dropped. What just happened? Rin, still watching the human fleet, whispered, They can teleport?" Elena Kale's lips curved into a slight smile. "Not teleportation," she corrected softly. "Just better technology. Faster, Smarter, stronger. Something the galaxy has not seen before. The Vorath fleet realized, too late, that they were outmatched in every way. Their ships were slower, their weapons weaker, their tactics predictable. Every effort to retaliate was met with new human strategies, an endless wave of creativity, intelligence, and lethal precision. In the middle of the battlefield, one human ship, the largest and most imposing, rose above the chaos. From it, a transmission echoed across Vorath frequencies, calm and clear. "This is humanity," the voice said, emotionless but commanding. "We do not wish to destroy you, but if you resist, we will. Stand down, or face the consequences." No one responded. No alien dared speak. Their pride, their arrogance, their centuries of conquest, all faltered under the weight of humanity's presence. Elena Kale turned away from the screen. "Let them think they have a choice," she said. "They don't." As the human fleet advanced, strange patterns appeared in the Vorath ranks. Officers reported seeing ships move where they should not, appearing in positions that made no sense. Entire squadrons seemed to vanish and reappear miles away, striking vulnerable points with surgical accuracy. Kryn stared at the screens, sweat dripping down his brow. He knew this battle was already lost. The humans were not just soldiers, they were a force of nature, an intelligence beyond his comprehension. Every move he made, every plan he formed, was already countered before it existed. The final warning came moments later. A massive human vessel aligned itself above the Vorath command center, its silhouette dark and threatening. Then, without a shot fired, the entire Vorath fleet saw their dreadnoughts explode in sequence, one after another, until the majority of their ships were destroyed or crippled. Silence fell over the remaining Xylan forces. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of utter defeat, fear, and disbelief. The humans hovered in formation, their victory absolute. In that moment, Kryn realized the truth. Humanity was not just another race. They were evolution incarnate, adaptable, relentless, and terrifyingly brilliant. And now, the galaxy would have to reckon with them. Elena Kale looked out at the battlefield, calm as ever. She whispered softly, more to herself than anyone else. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy has never seen humans like this before." And with that, the humans prepared for their next move, leaving the remaining alien fleets paralyzed, wondering if the war had already ended before it truly began. The galaxy was talking. Or at least, it would have been, if anyone dared speak. Across multiple star systems, alien fleets scrambled to analyze the humans. They tried to understand them, to find a weakness, but every attempt only revealed more questions. In the Vorath system, the wreckage of their fleet floated silently. Admiral Kryn sat in his command center, staring at the screens. The humans had vanished as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving only empty space and shattered ships. He could not comprehend it. Every tactic, every strategy, every attempt to fight had failed. And now, he had to face the most terrifying question. What were humans capable of that even they themselves could not see? Meanwhile, on a distant planet orbiting a dim star, a Vorath research team scoured fragments of human technology recovered from destroyed ships. Pieces of hulls, energy cores, even control modules, all seemed familiar yet utterly alien. Every system was simple, yet perfect. No wasted energy. Every weapon, every engine, every shield was optimized to an almost impossible degree. Dr. Solon, the lead scientist, shook his head. "Their technology, it adapts," he said, voice trembling. "It changes depending on the enemy, almost like it can think." Another researcher, younger and eager, frowned. "Can it be AI?" "No," Solon said sharply. "It's not AI in the way we understand. It's human. Every system seems to anticipate decisions before they are even made. It's as if the technology and the pilots are one." Across the galaxy, human ships regrouped silently in uncharted space. Captain Elena Kale watched the readings calmly. The Vorath were scrambling, trying to understand the humans, but they could not. She had taught her fleet well. Human intuition, combined with technology, made them almost impossible to predict. Rin, Elena said softly, they are trying to learn about us, but they will never understand. Humans are more than machines or strategy. We adapt, we survive, we evolve. Rin glanced at her, curious. But why now? Why emerge from hiding? Why show the galaxy this power? Elena's eyes darkened. Because the galaxy has forgotten us. They assumed we were weak. They assumed we would never rise. It is time they remembered what humanity is capable of. Back in the Vorath labs, Solon examined data from the battlefield. He noticed patterns, tiny details that no alien could have predicted. The humans did not just fight, they learned. Each encounter seemed to make them stronger, faster, more precise. They evolve, he whispered. It's not just skill or training. They actually change based on their enemies. They improve while fighting. Meanwhile, on a small colony world, a historian tried to piece together Earth's history from old records recovered from human archives. Wars, famines, natural disasters, humans had survived them all. Every time, they adapted, grew stronger, and overcame impossible odds. They've always been survivors, the historian murmured. No matter what the universe throws at them, they survive, and they never stop learning. In orbit above a gas giant, a human squadron trained, quietly preparing for the next engagement. Every move was precise, rehearsed yet flexible. They were a living organism, each pilot acting as part of a greater whole. And yet, each was independent, capable of making decisions that even Elena could not predict. Rin, Elena said, studying a fleet simulation, watch this. A human fighter suddenly altered its course mid-maneuver, avoiding an imaginary enemy strike, then counterattacking in a way no simulation had predicted. That is why we are unstoppable. Not just technology, not just strategy, but humans themselves. Back in the Vorath system, Admiral Kryn's desperation grew. His fleet was shattered, and the humans were gone, but he could not stop thinking about what he had seen. The aliens were whispering, debating, arguing. Some suggested surrender, some planned revenge, but all feared the same thing, humanity's potential. They are more than soldiers, Kryn admitted quietly to himself. They are something else entirely. The galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries. They were small, insignificant, primitive. Yet every record, every battle, every historical account showed the same truth. Humans adapted, survived, and grew stronger in ways no other race could match. On a remote asteroid base, a scout reported a strange phenomenon. Human ships appeared, vanished, and reappeared in distant sectors, striking quickly and then disappearing again. No alien fleet could predict their movements. It was not just technology, it was instinct, adaptation, evolution in action. Solon, observing the same transmissions, shook his head in disbelief. We are fighting ghosts, intelligent, deadly ghosts. And every encounter makes them stronger. Meanwhile, Captain Elena Kale observed her fleet in silence. The humans were ready, patient, and precise. They had not yet revealed their full power, and they would not, until the galaxy forced their hand. Let them wonder, she whispered. Let them fear. Let them learn that humans are not a race to be underestimated. We are something greater. And so, the galaxy waited, trembling. For every alien who thought they understood humans, every plan they made, every strategy they devised, it was already anticipated. Humans were not just soldiers. Humans were evolution incarnate. And the galaxy had only seen the beginning. The Vorath system had barely recovered from the first human assault when the humans appeared again. This time, they were not at the edge of space. They were inside alien territory. Entire fleets vanished from their posts, leaving systems defenseless. Every Xylan outpost, every forward station, felt the invisible shadow of human ships. Admiral Kryn could hardly believe his eyes. The humans moved like a storm, unpredictable yet precise. No fleet could intercept them. No defense could hold. The galaxy's most feared empire now seemed vulnerable, exposed under the cold gaze of humanity. "Sir," Lieutenant Sarn said, pointing to a holographic map, "they are advancing too fast. Our fleets cannot keep up. They are everywhere." Kryn rubbed his face. "We need a new strategy. Something they cannot predict." But deep down, he knew there was no strategy that could match humans' adaptability. Every time the Xylan tried a tactic, the humans countered it before it even existed. Meanwhile, in the shadows of the galaxy, some alien factions began to whisper among themselves. Not all were loyal to Kryn. Not all wanted to fight the humans. Some saw opportunity. An alliance with the humans could save them, even give them power in the new order. On the human command ship, Captain Elena Kale observed the galaxy's reaction with quiet amusement. "The cracks are appearing," she said. "Not every alien fears us. Some will betray their own kind for survival. We will use that." Rin tilted his head. "But is it wise to trust them at all?" Elena's eyes were cold. "Trust is irrelevant. We only need obedience when necessary. Otherwise, they are tools to achieve our goals." Back in the Vorith system, panic had spread. Commanders argued bitterly over whether to retreat, negotiate, or launch a desperate counterattack. Some suggested surrender, others plotted ambushes. But fear had already taken hold. The humans were not just winning, they were changing the rules of war. A fleet of elite human strike ships appeared suddenly near the Xylan supply lines. Before anyone could respond, the humans disabled communication satellites, destroyed supply convoys, and vanished again. No one knew where they had gone or how they had managed it so efficiently. In the Alien Council, arguments erupted. "We cannot fight them," one official shouted. "They anticipate everything." Another countered. "We must unite. Only together can we have a chance." But unity was impossible. Suspicion poisoned every conversation. Officers accused each other of incompetence, of collusion with humans. Fear turned into paranoia, and the Empire's foundation shook. Meanwhile, on a quiet asteroid station, a spy reported that humans were gathering intelligence, not just on fleets, but on leaders. They studied behavior, patterns, decisions, even interpersonal conflicts. Every weakness, every hesitation, was logged and exploited. Kryn realized the humans were not only fighting, they were learning. They were observing, adapting, waiting for the perfect moment to strike where it hurt the most. And then the humans made their move. A massive fleet appeared above the Vorith capital, silent and deadly. The alien defenses were ready, or so they thought. But human ships struck not at the shields, not at the weapons, but at the city's command nodes, communication hubs, and critical infrastructure. In minutes, the capital was paralyzed. Kryn watched helplessly as chaos erupted. Ships were unable to coordinate. Orders failed to transmit. Panic spread like wildfire across the entire empire. The humans did not need to destroy everything. They only needed to show their power, to remind the galaxy who was now in control. Amid the chaos, some alien leaders reached out secretly, hoping to form a pact with humans. They offered loyalty, knowledge, and even weapons, trying to save their people from total annihilation. Elena Kale considered each offer carefully. Some would serve, some would be discarded. But every action was calculated. Every choice reinforced humanity's dominance. In orbit, human ships hovered calmly, observing the collapse. There was no joy, no anger, only precision. And then Elena gave the order. "Prepare the next wave. Let them see what happens when they resist." On the ground, Vorith civilians watched the skies. They had never seen humans before, but now they understood the name would be remembered forever. Ships that moved like living beings, weapons that struck without warning, and leaders who seemed to anticipate every thought. They were witnessing the birth of a legend. Admiral Kryn gathered what remained of his council. His voice was quiet, almost broken. "We underestimated them," he admitted. "We ignored the warnings. Now we face the consequences." But not all aliens were united in despair. A small faction began preparing a secret weapon, something they hoped could counter humanity's relentless advance. It was dangerous, unstable, but it might be their only hope. And Elena Kale knew it. Humans had forced the galaxy into a corner, revealed weaknesses, and exposed desperation. Soon, someone would strike back. But when they did, the humans would be ready. "Let them try," she whispered to Rin. "They will fail. Always." The galaxy had shifted. Power was no longer measured by numbers, fleets, or territory. Humanity had shown that intelligence, adaptability, and strategy were worth more than all the weapons the aliens had built over centuries. And as the humans moved deeper into the heart of the Xylan Empire, one thing was clear. The war was far from over, but the outcome was already written. The aliens could prepare their secret weapon. They could plan revenge. They could hope. But the humans were already beyond hope. The galaxy trembled as fleets gathered. On one side, the remaining Xylan forces had united under desperation, preparing their secret weapon. Massive ships bristled with energy cannons, engines glowing with unnatural power. On the other side, humanity's fleet moved with quiet precision, each ship in perfect formation, anticipation and strategy flowing through every pilot like a single heartbeat. Admiral Kryn stared at the readouts, his hands trembling. This is our last chance," he muttered. "If we fail here, the Empire falls." In orbit above the Vorath capital, humans waited. Captain Elena Kale studied the alien fleet calmly. "They have a new weapon," she said softly. "I can feel it. But that doesn't scare me." Rin looked up. "Should we prepare a direct assault?" Elena shook her head. "No. Let them strike first. Let them show us what they have. Then we adapt, then we win." The silence shattered as the Xylan's secret weapon powered up. A colossal ship, larger than any in the galaxy, emerged from hyperspace. Its hull shimmered with energy, shields stronger than anything the Vorath had built before. Weapons charged, crackling with destructive power. The humans watched, unmoved, analyzing every detail. Without warning, the Xylan unleashed their first salvo. Beams of pure energy tore through space, striking human ships with devastating force. Explosions rippled through the front lines. For the first time in weeks, a human vessel was destroyed. The fleet did not panic. Humans responded instantly. Ships split apart, weaving through incoming fire. Smaller attack crafts struck weak points in the alien weapon's hull, while larger vessels coordinated strikes on the power conduits. Every move was calculated, every decision instinctive. Elena's voice was calm over the comms. "Focus. Every shot counts. Do not waste energy. Let them feel our strength before we finish them." The battle escalated. Entire fleets collided in a storm of fire and energy. Xylan ships fought desperately, but humans were everywhere, striking from unexpected angles, using the aliens' own attacks against them. Energy shields reflected plasma beams, engines redirected to counter strikes, and human pilots adapted to every scenario in seconds. Admiral Kryn watched in horror as his secret weapon began to falter. The human fleet had identified a critical flaw, a small junction in the ship's energy matrix. A single coordinated strike could cripple it. Elena's fleet moved like shadows. Human fighters raced toward the junction, dodging blasts and weaving through debris. Massive capital ships unleashed concentrated fire at the same point. In an instant, the secret weapon erupted in a blinding explosion. Debris scattered across the void, and the Xylan fleet faltered. But victory was not yet complete. Smaller alien fleets launched desperate counterattacks, trying to isolate human ships. Entire squadrons attempted to flank, to divide and conquer. Humans adapted instantly. Each ship responded with independent action, but also as part of a greater whole. Fighters flanked their enemies, support vessels repaired and reinforced allies, and capital ships used energy beams to shield vulnerable points. Every alien move was predicted, every attack neutralized. In the chaos, a massive dreadnought charged at the human command ship. Its weapons fired relentlessly, threatening to destroy Elena's flagship. She remained calm, issuing a single command: evade and counter. All ships, target the engines. The human fleet responded like a single organism. Fighters distracted the dreadnought, capital ships fired on its engines, and within minutes, the massive ship exploded. The shockwave rippled across the battlefield, crippling nearby Xylan vessels. On the Vorith command center, Kryn knew the war was lost. His fleet was shattered, their secret weapon destroyed, their strategies exposed. Every plan had failed. Every hope was gone. Humans had not just defeated them, they had rewritten the rules of war. Elena Kale watched the battlefield, calm and unshaken. Her voice was quiet, almost reflective. This is why humans survive. This is why no one can stop us. Adaptation, intelligence, and unity, these are our weapons, and no technology can match them. Rin glanced at her. We've won. Elena shook her head slightly. The battle is over, yes. But the galaxy is just beginning to understand what humanity can do. Even as humans began to regroup, tend to damaged ships, and rescue stranded pilots, the remaining Xylan forces retreated, scattering across the stars. Fear had settled in their hearts. They had faced the humans, and they had survived, but at a cost that would be remembered for centuries. Across the galaxy, reports of human victory spread like wildfire. Entire civilizations paused to listen, to understand. The myth of human weakness had been shattered. The galaxy now knew the truth: humans were not to be underestimated. They were not just a race. They were evolution incarnate, intelligence and adaptability made flesh. In the aftermath, Elena stood on the bridge of her command ship, looking at the stars. Her fleet moved silently, ever vigilant. She knew the victory was only the first step. The galaxy was wide, full of threats, full of unknown dangers. But humans had proven themselves. They will try again, Rin said softly. Other races, other enemies. Elena smiled faintly. Let them try. They will fail. We are human. And humans always survive. And so, the galaxy fell silent. Not in peace, but in awe. For in every corner of the stars, a single truth spread: humanity had entered the battlefield, and nothing would ever be the same again. The galaxy was quiet again. Not peaceful, never peaceful, but silent in the way that comes after fear and awe. News of humanity's victories had spread faster than any fleet could travel. Entire civilizations paused, whispered, and wondered, who were these humans, and what could they do next? In the remnants of the Vorith Empire, Admiral Kryn sat among the ruins of his command center. Ships lay destroyed, stations abandoned, and morale shattered. He stared at the stars, unable to find words for the humans who had defeated him so completely. They are not just soldiers, he muttered. They are something greater. Far across the galaxy, other races felt the same. The once proud fleets of the Relari, the Zekth, and the Kaldar trembled in fear. Intelligence reports confirmed what every captain and admiral suspected: humans were everywhere, yet nowhere. They had struck, adapted, and vanished, leaving a legacy of unmatched efficiency and power. On the human flagship, Captain Elena Kale observed the aftermath. Her fleet hovered silently, waiting for reports from distant sectors. Every ship that had survived the battles was accounted for. Every pilot ready. Every system operational. Humanity had won, not just through firepower, but through intelligence, adaptation, and unity. Rin approached her, still in awe. We've done it. The galaxy. Elena shook her head slightly. This is only the beginning. They will remember us, yes. They will fear us. But humanity's story is far from over. We survive, we adapt, and we thrive. And that is our true power. Back on Vorith, Kryn convened what remained of the council. Some suggested surrender, others proposed hiding, but all knew one truth: humans could not be fought like ordinary enemies. Their strategy, their adaptability, their unity, these were not weaknesses that could be exploited. They were forces of nature. And yet, Not all aliens despaired. Some began secret talks, offering allegiance, knowledge, and resources. Humanity's reputation as unstoppable spread quickly. Some hoped to survive by joining them. Others planned in silence, determined to rise when humans turned their attention elsewhere. In space, human ships moved in quiet patrols, ensuring no hidden fleets could regroup without being noticed. They did not act out of cruelty or conquest. They acted with precision, intelligence, and caution. Every move had a purpose, every maneuver was calculated. Humanity had proven its dominance, but it had also proven its restraint. Elena looked at the stars, her thoughts drifting back to Earth, to the countless centuries of survival, struggle, and evolution that had brought humans here. From a small, overlooked planet to the center of galactic power, humanity had grown stronger with every challenge. And the galaxy would never forget it. Rin spoke softly. Do you ever wonder, will they ever stop fearing us? Elena smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and melancholy. They may never stop. But fear is not weakness. It teaches respect, understanding, and caution. The galaxy will learn. Slowly, but it will learn. And one day, perhaps, some will even see us as something more than just a threat. In distant systems, alien fleets observed humans silently. They did not attack. They did not challenge. They watched, analyzed, and whispered among themselves. Everywhere, one thought echoed, humans are not like us. They are different. They are unstoppable. On the human flagship, Elena activated a communication channel. Not to threaten, not to demand allegiance, but to send a message to all civilizations that had witnessed their rise. This is humanity, she said, her voice calm, steady, and commanding. We do not seek needless war, nor do we act without purpose. But we will defend ourselves, adapt, and survive. Every species in this galaxy should remember one truth: humans endure. Humans rise. And humans always prevail. Across the galaxy, the message was received with shock, awe, and a new kind of respect. The legend of humanity had begun. And yet, beneath the victory, beneath the silence of the galaxy, there was a subtle warning. Humans had not shown everything. They had not revealed the full depth of their power, their intelligence, or their will. Those who believed the war was over were mistaken. Humanity had emerged victorious, yes, but the galaxy itself would continue to challenge them, and in response, humanity would evolve further. Elena turned away from the view of the stars, her eyes resting on her fleet. She knew every pilot, every ship, every decision had brought them to this moment. The galaxy would speak of them for generations, but humans were not content with legend. They would continue, always learning, always adapting, always surviving. Prepare the fleet, she said quietly to Rin. The galaxy is wide, and there are still worlds to see, threats to meet, and mysteries to uncover. Our journey is not finished. It has only begun. And in that moment, humanity's presence was etched into the very fabric of the galaxy. Not as conquerors, not as tyrants, but as a force that could not be ignored. Every race, every fleet, every civilization would remember the day humans entered the battlefield and left the galaxy in awe. Silent, powerful, unstoppable. The galaxy had fallen silent. But humanity had risen.